Brian Sobel is standing by. And Brian, if so much is at stake, why can't Congress get this done?
Traditionally, every one of these deals happens at the 11th hour when people come to grips with the fact that federal employees aren't going to be paid, services are not going to be rendered. And it seems like we just have this habit in this country of pushing this over and over again to the 11th hour and past the 11th hour. And it looks like we're back at it again tonight.
So Brian, here, it's not unheard of that the government could actually shut down, is it?
No.
It's happened a few times in recent history, and those times weren't short. I think a few have happened within the past decade.
Well, there was one in 2018 during the Trump presidency that went 35 days. So it's not unheard of. It's painful. People don't get paid. But there are crucial issues at play here, Austin, about whether the Trump mandate to make sure that the debt limits are kept under control, that our debt nationally in general is brought to heel, and what we owe is brought to heel. These are big, big issues that Donald Trump has to address. And he doesn't want to come into a situation where he inherits something in December when he's going to be inaugurated in January, because whatever happens over the next day, he is going to inherit and have to deal with.
I like to take a political science 101 approach to these types of things. For people that don't know what the debt ceiling is, Brian, how would you explain it?
Well, the United States has a number where it essentially says, hey, we will have a debt ceiling. We will not go beyond a certain number of $1 trillion. And so in the case of these budget deals, one of the things that we saw during the Biden administration and during the Trump administration and previous administrations is an expansion of the debt limit. So in a sense, we could borrow more money, we could print more money. And now we're at a place where our overall debt, and there's different definitions, is over $35 trillion. It's unsustainable. And so without budget cuts and other actions to reduce those numbers, we're going to continue to watch that number rise.
So the way this is played out, Brian, what is happening to Speaker Johnson's reputation amid all of this?
Well, the bill today was his bipartisan effort to make something happen, and then Trump was involved as well. His bill did not pass the House, so that kind of falls to the fact that the Speaker couldn't make it happen. So now you've got to see that there's some angst between the president-elect and the Speaker of the House, Johnson. But in all of these situations, everybody's just trying to make something happen, and so that's what went on today, and it's going to continue through tomorrow.
Why was Kevin McCarthy ousted? And is anything that's happening right now reminding you of the events that led up to him being removed as Speaker?
Well, Austin, you make a good point. Kevin McCarthy was essentially ousted by a very few number of people in the Congress of the United States, the gang of 8 or 7 Republicans who had it out for him. He cut a bad deal about his speakership, and that's sort of an old story about whether he would allow a situation where a minority of the members or even one member could challenge his speakership. But Johnson's in the same position. If he doesn't perform here, there's every chance that Republicans decide he's not the right player. And of course, he's going to get no help from Democrats. You heard Jeffries, the minority leader, expressing great frustration today about what has gone on and saying, essentially, I'm not helping the Republicans fix their own problem.
Congress was hoping to go on the holiday break after tomorrow, Brian, but if a deal is not reached, is it likely that they'll work through the weekend and perhaps come through with something by early next week? Could you see that?
Oh, absolutely. It's not wouldn't be the first time that Congress has been held back from going on their breaks wherever they are in the year. If something is pending that is this important, I think the American people would be very, very upset if they don't stay in Washington D.C. and solve this problem before going on their Christmas break. And frankly, that break may be the very thing that forces these people to come to some compromise that may seem to work.
So let's say people are turning their TV on for the first time today. Let's say they haven't been clued into this story. Before we go, Brian, what are the sticking points? What are the main disagreements? What are going to be the things that are going to need to be conceded in order to get something through?
Well, first of all, Republicans, Democrats have to figure out what is on the table that they can live with. And you remember this was originally a bill that was over 1,000 pages, reduced by hundreds and hundreds of pages to a slimmer bill. But when you do that, things go off the table that members have a vested interest in. And so it's going to take a collective effort by Democrats and Republicans and some the aisle to come up with a vote here that can, keep the government funded. If they don't, then we go through Friday. I think they'll be held in over the weekend, and one attempt after another will occur until a bill is settled on. But it includes all sorts of things, including the $100 billion for disaster relief and lots of other things that cities and counties around the country are counting on. So this is a very interesting juncture, Austin, as we have a president-elect who's kind of dealing from the sidelines here on what he will inherit on January 20th. It's a pretty interesting poli-sci study, actually.
Goodness, we'll see how this thing plays out, Brian. Good to see you. Talk soon.
Good to see you. Take care.